Folsom, and enjoyed your set today. It's been kind of interesting the last 2 or 3 years. 3 years?
Yeah, this is the third
year.
Town Festival.
Yeah. It's been interesting watching your program progress since Mr. Cooney got there. I thought the material that he chose for you this year was pretty challenging, and it has to be kind of fun and interesting to play, especially uncommon kids. It's pretty cool stuff. Based on, do you guys play every day? I mean, you do jazz every day?
Except Friday.
Except Friday. So 4 days a week you're doing jazz. So you have a norm that you can think about in terms of how you play on a daily basis. Was today better than that? How many people think better? Better than the norm? About the norm? Who thinks that? Below norm? Oh. You guys don't think anything? What's that? So was this about an average performance or what?
Yeah. Great. I think we could have done better, yeah.
Are you guys always just enthusiastic?
Yeah.
That's about it? No, see, you guys are missing the point. And probably the points. When you're on stage, and we're just going to talk about performance. When you're on stage, there's judges up in the back, right? And what you need from them are points. Points and information. In order to get, how about this? In order to get the car from your parents or money from your dad, you have to do more than go, whatever. You have to charm your parents. You have to be nice. You have to be enthusiastic. You got to clean your room or whatever, right? And if you want the most out of him or you want the most out of me, enthusiasm works. Communication works. Mount Rushmore doesn't do much for a teacher. It doesn't do much for judges. If you want to be, or how about an audience? Just an audience. I mean, what I thought about the last tune is that tune had more energy than anything else that you played. You started winning the audience over with that, I thought. Okay, so you were communicating something. That's what you need to do as students, that's what you need to do as a musician, and that's what you need to do as a performer. So I'm sort of lecturing you right now. You don't know me very well, but I'm sort of lecturing you. Because if you want a lot out of me, because I could just go, wow, I really like you guys. Okay, get back on the bus. I'll see you next time. It would be really easy to do that. But if you want information or you're interested in getting better, then you want to get the most out of me you can. And maybe I don't even have much to offer. I don't know. Maybe I'm going too much off on this. But I have a lot of students of my own, and the first thing I got to get out of them is, what did you think? Because that helps me tell you or guide you through what I thought. Because well, I suppose I can get right to the point. I have a list of things here that I thought, as I was going along, it's sort of like the guy that reports on the horse race. This guy's ahead, and this is happening, and this guy's coming up around that. It's stating the facts. By the time your performance was all said and done, it was sort of like your reaction to me when I first came in here. There was a ton of energy, but I didn't feel like everybody in the band. The energy was coming from him and maybe the rhythm section and the tunes themselves. I don't know that every player in the band was contributing to make that musical statement. And actually what I said at the bottom here is lots of players are hiding in the ensemble. Now remember, you create what's said about you. I didn't walk into that theater, sit down and look at you and go, I know what I'm going to say. By the time your performance was over, you created an impression with me that made me say that. So let me define what I mean by that. If we are going to shape a phrase, we have 5 saxophone players here, and we're all going to take a phrase, like maybe the first phrase in Uncommon Kids. And you're all going to shape it, and he's going, well, you know, I don't know if my instrument is really in tune, so I'm going to let these other guys carry this first phrase until I can figure it out. In other words, he hides in the ensemble. You understand that, right? Okay, now I'm not saying you did that. Now he's getting all defensive. All right, see, I like the feedback. He's going, hey, wait, that wasn't me. That's what I'm looking for here. Okay, so that would be one way of hiding. Trumpets, do you play better in the middle register or the upper register? Do you play better when you're playing loud or when you're playing at mezzo volumes? Okay, so there's a lot of times in the music here that it calls for more than that. And I think when those challenges come to you, I think you go, well, I'm going to play safe here. Even if you do understand what you're supposed to be playing, I kind of felt like we were being conservative so that maybe he didn't yell at you or you didn't make a mistake or whatever. Of course, he never yells at you, right? Is he pretty mellow?
Yeah, no.
And it doesn't yell at all.
I totally know better. I totally. Maybe he doesn't let you talk. He doesn't want reactions from you. He just wants you to do it. Anyway. Okay, so, but understand what I'm trying to tell you. I kind of get the feeling that when the going gets tough, a lot of us kind of want to blend in rather than carry the load for ourselves, the section, and the music that we're trying to state. I mean, it's the overriding thing. I could talk to you about sax is in the first thing. We need a little bit more volume on the counter melody in the first tune that you play. Blah, 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 blah. That's an easy adjustment for intelligent musicians to make. The harder thing is figuring out kids, Uncommon Kids. That's a tough tune to interpret. There's so many different things that are happening in there. There's so many times that you have to risk sounding bad or playing out of tune or missing a note or cracking a note or whatever. You're really exposed in a lot of different ways that you have to be well rehearsed, and I think the band is well rehearsed. I don't know that you're as well rehearsed individually as the band is rehearsed collectively. That was a good way of saying that. Yeah, I never said it before. Did you hear what I just said? Does it really make sense? I'm going to write it down when I'm finished.
We recorded it.
Yeah, did you? Really good. The band is well rehearsed, but I don't know that even though you're kind of going along with the band, I don't know that, I can't say it. Could you play that back? The way I said it the first time was the best way of saying it. You guys need to get better individually in order to get more out of the music and the instruction that you're getting. And I promise I haven't talked to Ron about, in fact, I haven't talked to him since the Folsom Festival, and I didn't get a chance to see you there. But the bottom line is, I think you're getting some good instruction. I think you have good charts to play. In this day and age, you're lucky to have a jazz period at all. Seriously, there's a lot of schools that are losing music entirely, including the entire Sacramento school district. One of the things they're talking about doing is cutting music and art completely. You guys have an opportunity to do something, and it doesn't matter if you're going to be like a jazzer forever or even a musician forever. You're doing this thing, it's pretty cool, and you're going to be sitting in a chair anyway. If you get serious about it and attack your part so that you can play it as well as the band plays as a whole, then the music's going to get better. You're going to feel better about your contribution to it, as opposed to, how many people know they lay back at certain times in certain places? Absolutely. Now, don't you think that when you do that, that takes away from the overall effect of what you're trying to state musically? So I'm not telling you anything. You guys are smart, and you're pretty good already. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. If you go home and you attack those places that you were backing off on today in today's performance, the band's going to be better. He didn't have to do anything. He's already done most of the work for you. He's given you the interpretation. He's given you the chart. He showed you how to hold it together. You just got to do your part better within that framework, and all of a sudden, you guys are points better. Points better. You want more laundry list? I don't really think you need the laundry list. Play a little bit louder, easy to do. What else did I say? Expression. Behind the solos, it's like a solo. It wasn't as important. We didn't express as well behind the solos as we did when we were playing ensemble parts. Again, it's pretty simple. That's all basic stuff or things you didn't think about, a little reminder, okay, we can do that. But it's those places that are hard for you to play. Those places where you know you don't have a grip on those parts, that's what's keeping the band from doing better than it already is. The second tune, I'll give you some other specifics. I've got a really uneasy feeling in the second tune. It didn't accelerate, but the whole thing almost felt rushed. you seemed comfortable on stage with it, but sitting back where I was, or where we were, it feels like we were always leaning in front of the beat. You guys understand middle, back, and front of the beat, right?
Yeah.
It always felt like it was pushing along this way and it was uncomfortable. I used the word rushed, and I don't know if that's entirely accurate. It was just an uneasy feeling. It didn't really sit in the pocket right for me. It just felt like it was always leaning forward, and I just wanted it to be a bit more comfortable. I don't think it was the speed of the tune, and I don't necessarily think it was accelerating, but it just gave me an uncomfortable feeling. So you might think about that and work together between the bass, the hi-hat, and whatever else is going on here. Saxes, this is another one of the laundry list things. Oh, the upright. As soon as we changed to the upright, I thought it was harder to hear. Not as much bass presence in the room. And I know that bass, was it the amp?
Yeah, I could have turned
The
it
guy
up.
had control over it too, though.
Yeah, but-
I mean, it feels loud on stage.
Does
I
it?
like it on bass.
As soon as I had no problem with the electric. As soon as he switched to the upright, it was like, for the bass.
Well, we have to turn down the volume because it,
Feedback.
Oh, yeah, that's
feedback, it's pretty bad.
But it was still pretty loud.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, it's a laundry list, it's things to notice, try to figure out for next time. Saxes, once we go past the middle register and go into the upper register, what happens to your sound? You already know?
Yeah.
What happens to it?
Sharp.
And I also feel like you go from a nice fat sound, and the higher you go, the thinner the sound gets. It's almost like the airstream is compressed, so you don't have as nice a tone quality in the upper register as you do when you're playing in a comfortable register. It's another one of those things, as soon as you push out of your comfort zone, things go wrong. That's the stuff you gotta go home and fix. So that was another one of those things that I noticed. Balance, how do you guys approach balance within this section? Wait for him to tell you, or, like trombones, I'll just talk to you guys. How do you work on balance between the 3 or 4 of you? Well, we know who sets the volume within this section, but like, what do you listen for? How do you listen?
I just listen to him because he's right next to me.
Okay, and when you hear him, what does that make you do?
What, if I'm a lot louder than him, then I come down. And if I'm a lot quieter, then I go up a little bit.
Okay, what you should probably try to do is listen to both people on either side of you, and you should hear yourself a little more than you hear him, and that'll put you in balance. If you match him, it's really you're underbalanced, because it's easier to hear yourself than it is him.
Yeah.
And if you're doing that and you're listening both sides of you, if you're hearing him fine, and you're sitting where you're supposed to, and you can't hear him, you can go, hey, you need to play a little bit louder. And he goes, oh, okay, I can do that. Because that means he's not paying attention and you can kind of help him out. And as a lead player, you can do the same thing. You should be able to hear these guys. You're going to be setting the volume and you'll be hearing yourself. That's easy for a lead player. But you can also check balance between with the guys that are on either side of you and help him figure out what's going on during the phrases. And the reason I'm talking about balance is I thought, rhythmically and from a register standpoint, the beginning of Uncommon Kids is pretty easy to play, right? So therefore, the balance and the shaping of those phrases should be pretty good. And I thought that we had some problems. It just didn't have a blended sound. I don't know how it was in front of them, but in the back, it was out of balance, and it goes by so quickly I couldn't pick it apart completely. But I had, anyway, balance problems. And then we already talked about upper register, but in the last song, I don't know if it was fatigue range or what, but saxon started to have some pitch problems as well. Did you notice? You guys ever retune between tunes or check tuning along the way? Or I didn't notice it at the beginning, and the longer we played, then I started noticing saxons having some problems. That's what I heard. Trombones, you guys have a feature, right? Stand up and be cool and show off. I mean, that's what you're doing at a festival or in front of an audience, you're showing off. I thought that, is there 2 different parts going on at the same time, or are you all playing basically the same phrases? Just 2 different things. The melody was understandable to me. The ends of the phrases from the guys that were supporting the lead, the ends of the phrases seemed ragged and undefined. There's a couple of reasons why that could be happening. One could be volume, one could be rhythmic, and one could be just how you're shaping the phrase itself. If you're not all doing it the same way, it's going to give that impression. So I just think you guys need to look at it, take him out of it, and just listen to the three of you play, and make sure you're shaping those phrases the same way, releasing at the same time, rhythmically you're doing everything right, and clean that up a little bit, because it's a really cool section for you. You get to stand up and do what usually we only let the saxes stand up and do, so you gotta make sure that stuff is perfect. And I just thought those underlying phrases were just a little ragged towards the end of the phrase every time. Articulations. How new is Uncommon Kids? Is that a new tune for you? You've been doing it most of the year?
Yeah, mostly.
Are we pretty much in agreement on the articulations at the end of that tune?
Haven't worked on articulation theory
You haven't?
as much as we should.
Yeah, you guys need to figure out and come to some agreement, because it needs more uniformity to really be as effective as it can be. So anyway, I'm not gonna belabor this anymore. Those are some things, the laundry list, like I said. The other thing though is make sure you communicate with the people that you want something from. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It might seem like it's a little manipulative, but you're here to learn, you're here to get something out of all this, besides just having the fun of doing it. And then I would say, if I was your teacher, I would challenge you all to hold your own and play your parts from beginning to end the way they're supposed to be played. Those places that you know you're weak or you're backing off on, go home and figure them out. You'll make the band better. It's not his job, it's not anybody's job but yours to go home and get that done. And you're smart enough to know where it is and to get it done without any help. You can do it all on your own, you just gotta get down and get to work. If that were to happen, I'd look forward to seeing you again very soon, because it won't take long to get it right. And anyway, thanks for listening, and I appreciated your performance today. Good luck in the future.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, sure.